Question, Mr. Watts will go first. What long-range ideas would you want to implement for the school district, including professional development, curriculum, staffing, and parental involvement?
So this question is kind of similar to the second question about top 5 objectives. And in a number of the answers that I've given already and other things that I've said in the paper and whatnot, I think it's probably fairly clear that for me, education in our country is kind of at a pivotal moment in time, much like our public finances, much like our healthcare system, and what we do. I'm not sure if this is long term or not, but what we do over the next 5 to 10 years, I think, is key. For me, that boils down to kind of a reinvention of public education, as I've said several times. And so in that context, I think in response to this question, maybe I just call out a few particular things. I mentioned earlier, I think that foreign language is particularly important and should be integrated earlier and more thoroughly into our education system. I think that there's a need, and I don't know how to do this. Hopefully it's something that we will work on, but I think that there's a need to revive kind of the idea of the vocational track, that there are many different ways of learning, there are many different career paths, life paths that our students will take, and university is not the final or ultimate path for all students, and we need to provide vocational opportunities in the curriculum. I think that figuring out how to connect what students are learning in class to real-world situations is extremely important, and one of the ways hopefully that we'll be able to accomplish that is through partnerships with businesses and organizations in the community where students can get hands-on knowledge, hands-on learning, and have opportunity for practical application of that learning. Thank you.
Mr. Fern?
I think the term partnership for 21st century schools is something the school board sort of signed off on. I don't think we really get it yet. And if you go to the site, you Google Partnership for 21st Century Schools, it's quite a comprehensive overlay, almost a branding of a school district. It's something that's been adopted by states, by their departments of education, that heavily influences their curriculum, and that goes down to school districts. So I think in itself, the Partnership for 21st Century Schools suggests many potential ideas, great vision, but first and foremost, I'd be very interested to see what our new superintendent thinks about that. I think the board, again, along with strategic planning, needs to get together and more thoroughly understand the implications of the 21st century school partnership. Two other issues, I agree with vocational technology. I think it needs to be reinvented at our district. I think that as we're looking at potentially remodeling or redoing part of the high school, that space that houses vocational technology needs to be looked at, and maybe needs to be looked at in different ways. Thirdly, without a strong and vibrant professional development within a district, we don't accomplish those things that I've mentioned, that Sean has mentioned. We've put together, I think, a good plan that involves teachers and the school board, and it's working well. But it's important that we keep a committee structure intact that we've agreed upon, that again involves teachers in putting together professional development, that it gets back to the board thoroughly understands what's going on, and that we fund it properly, so that we can have high expectations for professional development, and see teachers really excited about what the district offers in that respect.
Thank you. Mr. Vine?
I think, you know, we seem to agree on the fact that 21st century learning is going to be, certainly need to be addressed, and how we're going to be able to deliver that, and do we have the facilities currently that we can deliver that with. I would say that I currently have some opinions on 21st century learning and facilities and closed and open campuses and some of those things, but one of my favorite signs is I reserve the right to change my opinion based on new evidence presented. So I guess I would say that currently, you know, my opinions aren't firm, but I certainly think that, you know, my life philosophy leads me in a certain direction. But the partnership with the community, I think Heather's idea about a grassroots PR campaign could really go a long ways, not only in helping people maybe as they consider levy requests, but also maybe in the development of philanthropy to help support our schools. And Sean's done a great job in working with the Whitefish Education Foundation, and perhaps that is a source that can be enhanced through better communication with the community, and through our venture philanthropists, if you will, for those people who are looking for a return on their education investment. So I would hope that a partnership with the community could be established, but I think the start of that is going to need to be us pounding our chests a little bit about the great work that goes on in the Whitefish School District.
Thank you. Next question, back to Mr. Fern first. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Thank you. Ms. Fern, please.
So long-range ideas. I do see that if I'm on the school board, I would be continuing to carry out the strategic plan. I think it would be exciting to look at that strategic plan annually, and knowing that it was basically a 3-year plan, that's imperative that we keep looking at that. I think the opportunity with the new superintendent is very exciting. I participated in interviewing the candidates and was really excited about the entire process, as well as the candidates that we were able to interview, and I hope that Kate accepts, and that's a done deal. I would look forward to a recasting of the district vision with someone like her experience. And yes, 21st century skills as a framework, from what I understand of it, I agree with it. I believe in it. It does seem like professional development on more of a continuous basis would be key, and also having professional development that educators are able to implement into their classrooms more, whether that takes the support of administrators, funding, or just pure time. Those would be all things I'm very interested in. And then absolutely evolving our curriculum. I think that we have amazing potential. I think we do great things with what we have, but I think for us to have a goal of being the district that other districts look to say, wow, they came up with a solution with that funding and those guidelines, those restrictions, we want to mimic the Whitefish School District. I think that would be a great goal.
Thank you. Now, next question.